All right, all right, all right. I believe we are good to go. Sorry about that. All right, hey, how's it going, guys? It is K Rod here. I'm back at it with another boxing show for y'all today. And today we got a pretty good boxing interview for y'all. I have a professional fighter coming on to the show. That will be Mr. Yoruba Moreu. I believe he fights at, if I'm not mistaken, welterweight. If I'm not to be mistaken, I forgot what the weight class is. I think it's between 140 and 147. But yeah, me and him will talk some boxing today, get a quick little show, and then I'll sign off for today. I don't have anything else really going on, so yeah, I hope you guys are doing good today. I'm just trying to get everything set up with the camera. So yeah, so for today, I'll just be having like a little conversation, and then hopefully we can get things going. So salute to everybody that's in the chat. And yeah, man, I will say there is boxing going on for today with the Zuffa boxing fight card, and that will be on. I want to say at 6 p.m. for Fa Ajagba versus I forgot who the other guy's name is. Um, I think he's going up against who? I think he's going up against Jonathan Rice. I would have to take a look at that, but I think that's who he's going up against today. I think that should be a pretty good fight card today. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Oh yeah, he's going up against Prince Charles Martin. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. That's going to be a really good fight. I don't know. I think Charles Martin, he's probably like past his prime, so I think FA he'll probably get the victory, but I won't be surprised if Charles Martin actually ends up, beating him because he is like a better boxer. So yeah, hopefully that can be interesting. And yeah, so yeah, I'm just basically having to wait up on Yoruba. So whenever he gets here, I will get things going, for y'all today. So yeah, let's just chop it up. In the meantime, I was gonna say I am looking forward to seeing. Oh wait, I want to say, is Frank Martin coming back? I want to say he is actually. I'm actually gonna take a look at that right now. Now that I'm here, because knowing that the Jugchi Ryan Garcia is coming back to fight Mario Barrios, I do know Frank Martin could be on that card, and I think he is on the card, if I'm not to be mistaken. So yeah, he is. He's gonna go up against Nahir Albrecht, which that's a good fight, by the way. I'm actually gonna talk about that. Yeah, I think stylistically that is a really good fight. I think both of those guys really know how to do really well inside of the pocket, and I think it would be like a pretty good boxing match. I think overall, competitively, the fight would be pretty good as far as like where things would go. But I don't know. I think where things are going as it stands. I think Frank. I don't want to say this is like a crossroads fight where he would have to win, because if he does not win, then obviously people would say his career is over, and I'm not going to be saying that. Oh, okay. I think Rue is here, so let me bring him right on in. Oh, sorry about that, bro.
Oh, you good?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Doing good. You doing good?
How are you?
Feeling blessed. Good like always. And you?
Everything's doing good. Life is doing me pretty well. How's everything, on your Sunday?
Oh, everything's good. Yeah, like I said, everything's slow, but we moving though.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for coming on, and let's get right into it. I'd like to, first say, um, as far as like, just to start things off, just tell us, like, tell the audience like who you are, how you get into something, and what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I got you. For y'all that don't know me, my name is Yoruba Moreu Jr. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. For me, my pop's Puerto Rican, my mom Native American. My sister's a pro boxer too. I started competing at 8 years old. Had 180 amateur fights. Did my thing in the amateurs. Now I'm a 3-0 professional pro with 3 knockouts. Started my young career in August. And, from now we just, racking up the fights, getting the experience and everything like that.
Yeah, nice. I was gonna say, as far as like your amateur background, um, like how many fights did you have, and were you trying to like expand that to go into the like Olympics or?
My goal was never to go to the Olympics. But I had 180 fights. I fought pretty much at all the top people in my age group. So when I was 8 years old, I was fighting the highest level kids. Even when I got up to 18 years old to even 15, I always compete against the highest level kids in the amateur tournaments. And my goal was never to be like an Olympian or anything like that. I fell in love with pro boxing, not amateur boxing. So when I was growing up watching pro boxing, that was mostly the main goal right there.
Okay, nice. Yeah, because I wanted to ask that because I believe like correct me if I'm wrong. I believe didn't you used to compete for Team USA or did you ever get close to that?
No, well, I was somewhat close when I fought in the Olympic trials. I was 2 fights away from making the Olympic team, but we came a little short in the Olympic trials. But it's all
Uh,
learning experience.
did it? Did like did somebody beat you in a in a close fight that you should have won or
In that tournament or in another tournament?
for the Olympic qualifiers that you had
Yeah, yeah. I fought Francis Stewart from Ohio. Yeah, I lost to him in the quarterfinals. That was a good little scrap. I keep on trying to fight. You can't really find the footage, really, because they streamed it on Paramount or something like not Paramount. They streamed it on like Stream West or something like that. But like even if you try to screen record it, it was like black, like it blanked out. Like you couldn't even screen record it, the footage. So if
yeah
any of y'all find that footage, y'all send it to me.
yeah. Honestly, I feel like for any amateur level fight, that should be on national TV because if you're like fighting nationwide, that should be on at least like NBC or maybe I don't know CBS
Oh
or
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Like
Espe-
yeah,
especially every year, man. Like I still got some of my teammates that are still in the amateur and stuff like that, and I always keep attention to the amateur scene because you never know who's the next upcoming superstar and stuff like that. And every year you just see these little kids, even 8 years old, fighting like little pros, little high end amateurs. I'm like, wow, it's crazy. Always gotta keep your eye out for them for sure.
yeah, yeah. Because I was gonna say, for amateurs that are decorated that can go into the pros, but they just have that good of a style fundamentally to box that well. In the amateurs, a lot of them just know how to be really good with like, their footwork and their hand speed and with the punch placement. And I think like to certain, litmus tests, like there's certain fighters that are just made for the pros because if you're focusing on your pro style, you're just naturally good at like what you're doing as a pro fighter versus like, compared to like the amateurs, a lot of people are so enamored with just trying to get points, but know, trying to do that for too much longer that kind of like hold you back, as a fighter.
Oh
Like
yeah,
fundamental skill.
oh yeah. Like I keep saying, pros and amateurs is night and day. Two different, like it's almost like two different sports because you ain't scoring points no more. You're there to hurt your opponent. You're supposed to get them out of there. You ain't checking chins no more. You trying to touch them, make sure they stay down. But yeah, like I said, the more we learn through these pro fights and everything like this, the more you see like, damn, it's all boxing now is a business. It ain't just a sport; it's a business now.
Do you have like that particular intention when you go into like your fights? Are you just trying to get the knockout, or are you trying to learn to develop into like the style that you want to be successful at the world title level?
Every fight we work on something, because every fight there's something you could work on, and every fight I feel like I'm showing progression throughout my fights. Before I kind of was rushing my work. Now we settling down, snapping our shots, making our shots count, and stuff like that. And every fight you're seeing that slowly. But when I go in that ring, my mentality is hurt that other dude across the ring for me. Because he's trying to take food out the plate. He's trying to focus on my progression and everything like that. So it's open season when I see a green light for sure.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean that's always like a good goal to have because if you're better than the other guy, I rather just knock him out so
Oh yeah,
he doesn't get damaged, like any much more.
it's always like this. You never want to leave a wounded animal still going. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
you you hurt him, man. You just take him out. Get the night over with. We didn't want to pay for overtime.
Yeah. I wish boxing did pay you for the overtime because, I mean, look at, but the WWE, guys can go on fighting for at least like maybe like 30 to like 45 minutes and then, still like, make like a crowd go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna ask like, as far as like your fighting style goes, like, how would you, describe it yourself? Are you more of like a pure boxer, boxer puncher, or like a brawler?
See, it to me. I feel like it's kind of hard to describe my style because when I go in that arena, I pretty much could do it all. I feel like right now, ain't no one even seen a glimpse of what I could do to my boxing skills, to me going off my front, to my inside game, to my angles, to everything. So for right now, no one ain't really seen anything yet. I have digged in my bag of tricks, not even just a bit. So for my fighting style, I have to describe. I'll definitely say counter puncher for sure. But like I said, it's just hard because I always know how to mix it up. Wherever the guy if he tries to box me, I'm gonna find a way how to make him uncomfortable and get him out of there. But if he's a brawler, I'm gonna be the matador in that ring. So like I said, it really comes down. It's tough. I'll definitely say I'm a boxer puncher for sure.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because the reason why that I asked that is that do you find more interest in working on fundamentals, or are you just trying to like, emulate off of certain fighters that you look up to try to be the best that you can be, but if there's like a certain flaw that you have to work on, do you try to like work on what you could have done better?
You see, my thing is, you master the fundamentals, you just gonna go far in boxing. It's proven. Look at Shakur. He mastered that jab so well in his fundamentals. Look at him. Like my pops always tells me, your straight could take you down the block, but the jab could take you around the world. You feel me? So
Yeah. Yep.
every day in the gym, we just keep mastering our fundamentals to our footwork, to our jab, to our straight punches, to our 1, 2, 3, to our basic movement. You know, little stuff like that. So definitely, fundamentals is everything in my opinion.
Yeah, because the reason why that I asked that is because I think but the problem with today's boxing talent pool is that a lot of fighters are too focused on the strength and conditioning,
Oh yeah,
but
I agree.
to be the best, in that field, but they're not really focused on the old school mechanisms, on fundamentals, on how good that you can be, and building off of it as far as how great that you can be based off of what the gifts that you are good at, like particularly possessing.
No, I agree with you because literally, what you telling me right now, me and my pops always had conversations about this.
Oh, okay, nice.
I agree. A lot of fighters nowadays definitely want to be the bigger fighters, so they just focus on strength conditioning. They just want to be put on all this muscle.
Super
But
big,
look,
muscular.
yeah, but
Yeah,
it's like this, right?
oh, man,
It's
like so stupid.
it's like this. That hour and a half or two, whatever you do in strength conditioning, you could do it in boxing. But what I mean by that, you can master your skills to that 1.5 hour you're putting in strength conditioning. At the end of the day, like Roger Mayweather said, boxing is all about skills. You know what I mean? Skills pay the bills. So it's not a tough man sport. Who could be the toughest? Who can throw the hardest? No, it's about skills in that ring. Everyone knows in them 8 ounce gloves, it don't even take the hardest punch to land to knock somebody out.
Yeah. I was actually going to follow up with that because I was going to say, do you think power really matters in boxing? Because I was like talking with several people like about that in the past, and like I know plenty of other fighters that I currently speak to, and I think power just doesn't matter, to a degree because it's like if you're good at throwing power shots, that's good and all, but if you don't know how to land them and you don't know how to like use that to hurt somebody late game, then you know
Mm-hmm.
power would be meaningless, right?
Now, I agree with you because I keep saying this too. I said you don't have to have power to be able to stop people in the pros. People be
Yeah,
like, what do you mean by that? Like, you master the art of knowing how to snap your punches, bust them open with the jab. punches accumulate. So when someone starts getting a big puffy eye, they start getting cut up. That's when the ref's job is to step in and stop the fight. So I always said you don't gotta have power to be a power puncher. If you're landing your punch and treating them like a double end bag, man, the ref is gonna do his job to stop the fight, or even the corner to jump in and stop the fight.
Yeah. Yeah, because I wanted to get your perception off of that because I think as far as like the casual boxing community that's not educated and they just go off of public like opinion off of pure ignorance. Some people will just say power matters, man, power matters, and it's like no, that's not true because it's like there's plenty of dudes that can crack, but guess what? They get knocked out very easily by some dude that can't punch because
Oh
he
yeah,
knows how to use his defense, he knows how to use his fundamentals and break someone down.
no, yeah, nah, for sure, I agree, definitely.
Yeah, I was also going to ask about your matchmaking. What is the main goal of being a good fighter when it comes to matchmaking? Are you in it just to like basically try to get some wins under your belt and then eventually step it up a lot heavier as you start getting into like the higher level competition, or do you believe that it's important to test yourself consistently so therefore you can be like the best boxer that you can be in your particular weight class?
I always said it like this, right? Matchmaking and like building a fighter, it's an art. You know what I mean? Some
Yeah,
people want it's. I look at it like cooking. Where you see a chef cooking, you don't pull a steak off right away once you put it on. You know what I mean? You
yeah,
let it cook. So what I mean by that is like when you're coming out from the amateurs and going to the pro, like I said, it's two different things. You gotta let them get their feet wet. You know what I mean? Let them know how it feels to get hit with them 8 ounces. Let them know how to feel to hit someone with them 8 ounces. You don't want to just start rushing people and shit like that, because that's how the food come out raw. That's not what you want. Nah, there's definitely an art to matchmaking. So like right now, I'm get your feet wet. That's what I'm doing. I got my feet wet. Next thing you start stepping up. That's when you start stepping up. You start getting them tricky veterans, them veterans and stuff like that. That are
yeah,
gonna give you them extra rounds and stuff like that. Like I said, throughout boxing, there's a reason that those veterans and journeymen like that are in the game, because they test young talent like that. Because I keep saying, man, it's different from scoring punches to snapping your shots. Ain't no one get their head snapped with them 8 ounces. So shit, watch out.
yeah. Because the reason why that I say that is because for me personally, I used to wrestle back in high school, and I was never told by like my coaches, hey, like you have to, go after this guy or that guy just to start out. Like they just put you out there, and at least in high school at the JV and varsity level, um, you go up against people of all skill. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I might go up against some dude that I didn't know he won 2 to 3 state championships in certain years, previous to, before he even started like wrestling back in high school or anything like that. So I think like for boxing, like I personally look at boxing and wrestling to be like cousin sports. And I used to box like a little bit, in the past, and like I actually, got really good at it naturally. And I think for matchmaking alone, I think a lot of fighters in boxing are they're very cautious about who they fight, and then they try to like be very, how should I say, very defensive when people try to ask them about wanting to fight this guy or that guy, because they know what the risk is with knowing that fighter. Do you think that's like a common thing, like in the sport?
No, I for sure can see it. Because a lot of people still got that Mayweather mentality. Oh, you gotta protect the O and everything like that. I feel
Yeah,
like
get
you
as
know, yeah,
get as many wins and as least like particular losses that you can get.
yeah, yeah. See, that's why I said, like, real quick. The amateurs, amateurs all about experience. Just get. That's why I always fought none but the highest competition I could fight in the amateur. Because you could take a loss in the amateur and stuff like that, and that's just experience. You know what I mean? Like that. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to take no losses in the pro. But always says how you take it. If you take a loss in pro, you just got your ass whooped. Like you got cuts and everything. You took punishment. Then you gonna need to take some time off. But if you just took a loss, then like, everyone thought it was maybe like it was a close fight, but you didn't take too much damage, then you're gonna bounce back fine. Just because you didn't take too much damage. That's the main thing in boxing, is that there's a lot of people that take a lot of damage in the sport, and they can win the fight and they'll come back and they won't look the same. But just because of that last fight, how much damage they took, man, that's the point. You just gotta make sure you don't take that much damage, though.
Okay. Yeah. So I was gonna say, let me give you a good example. How about like Sugar Ray Robinson, for example? He was fighting almost like
Oh
every
yeah,
other week or maybe every other day.
hey,
But
that's
would
why.
you say, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. I was gonna ask, like, would you say, as far as how he developed as a fighter, did he do it properly, or did he do it in a way where he evolved his skill a lot faster because he wanted to be as great as he could be?
hey, shit, that's the kind of hard. See, that's the subject my pops could talk about all the time. But it's different just because we in two different times. Back then it was different, but still, that shows how much of a dog and like how much a special of a fighter and all time great he was to be able to be doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
No Moses finding like I don't know what like 15 rounds or something like that with 6 ounce gloves. Like it's
at
crazy.
least up to 47 rounds back in like the early 30s and 40s.
Yeah, yeah.
That's speculated. So basically, whoever gets knocked out or they just quit.
Oh yeah. I was just a different
Yeah,
time back then.
Archie Moore. Yep, I pretty much study those guys. So
Oh no, yeah, me too. I like to watch all them like Kid Gavin and stuff like that. I like watching them old school fighters because
oh yeah, yeah,
they got
yep,
they got they in my opinion I feel like they back then they weren't like crazy skilled. They had skill, but they weren't crazy skill like nowadays in my opinion. But they know how to snap their shots so well, so perfect. And to me, in my opinion, that's such a lost art in this generation, snapping their shots.
yeah.
I feel like that's just a big difference in nowadays fighters.
Yeah, for sure. I just wanted to ask you that because I think, like the old school fighters, that people like to shrug off of, they try to make it seem like, they were just fighting just to inflate their records, but that's not true. Like some of these guys were fighting dogs with
Oh
well
yeah,
over, like 100 victories, but these guys were fighting like tough dudes that were in their, talent pool. So it's not like they were just fighting guys coming in to brawl. Like they fought up against some really heavily skilled fighters, and people don't even talk about that because it's like, I think specifically when it comes to Black Murderers Row, they only look at Afro American fighters to say that they didn't do like enough, but they actually did. And even some white fighters too. Like take a look at Harry Greb. He was actually a very good fighter. I think he got two division undisputed titles. He was an absolute monster, along with Gene Tunney. He was a good fighter. Um, but
yeah, I gotta check them
compared
out.
to yeah. Compared to other fighters that weren't good, that were cheaters like Jack Dempsey, you know, people want to praise fighters like that to say that they were good, but then I'm like, nah, dude, like they didn't do anything. So it's like, I think like personally, with me, when it comes to skill and trying to measure the matchmaking of a fighter's development, shouldn't it be more with like your discipline of how well that you're testing like yourself while you're learning on the job, getting better with like your skill, and actually going up against other tougher names that nobody doesn't want to fight.
I'll say it like this, right? Look at Abdullah Mason, right? You know how everyone started watching when he was a prospect, but you notice how when Abdullah was getting rid of the competition like so smooth and effortless, like how it was. That's
Yeah,
when the match
like
that
your
now that's
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Now that's when the matchmaker's part is to step of the competition. When all right, you're getting rid of him this easy and stuff like that. We're gonna bump it up now. We want you to fight this guy who has this many fights, who ain't been stopped. You know what I mean? This many times, or who hasn't been stopped. So you're gonna fight this. And what did Abdullah do? He swept him, knocked him out. All right, we're gonna step up the competition. I feel like that's how the matchmaking should be. Build up like that every time.
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say like to add on to Abdullah's career, like that one fight where he got dropped by that Dominican.
Dominican.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody wants to say, "Oh, well, he needs to slow down," with his competition, man. He might be chinny, blah blah blah. And I'm like, how can you go off of that one fight knowing that he got up, he has a good chin, and
Nah,
yet he
nah,
still knocked that dude out?
nah. Exactly. I was saying the same thing. Like a lot of people are quick to call someone chinny once they get dropped. You know what I mean? Chinny's like you get dropped and you stay down, and you ain't get back up. There's a difference.
Yeah, or
Abdullah got back up and
yeah,
finished the fight.
super wobbly after being knocked down one time.
Well, shit. You're like people are so quick to talk and go crazy on and bash someone and stuff like that, but yet they in the ring getting hit by that dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And shit, the guy had a bunch of knockouts on his record. Abdullah fought too, so
yeah, yeah. I think it's good to go up against certain styles that are not like, how should I say, like, like a guy that punches hard, knows how to throw good power shots, but not with the greatest fundamental pure
mm,
boxer. That's still like a good tough style that not a lot of people will ever fight, because it's like, a lot of fighters that are too afraid to get hit, they don't know what to do, once they get hurt.
oh
So
yeah,
it's,
nah,
making adjustments, are very crucial.
definitely. That's why I would say in the sport of boxing, especially we in the pros now, you can't be expected to swim and not get wet. You know what I mean? Eventually
Yeah,
you're gonna get wet. And like we were saying, in boxing though, the one thing about pro boxing that is tricky, sometimes you can have a dude who's like crazy skilled, and you could just go in there and ring with someone who's just athletic and strong, and just because they're athletic and strong, it's pro boxing. And like I keep saying, it's just a punch difference in the 8 ounce gloves. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
That's the beauty about pro boxing. There's no such thing as the perfect style. There's no such thing as um. I mean, you could like of course I said you could always master your fundamentals and be sharp like that. That's you master those alone, you're gonna go far. But you can always like what's his name, Orlando Salido. I ain't like he's one of my favorites too.
yeah. Not,
Was to watch because
yeah,
he was
yeah.
like he's like tough and rugged. He'll lose a fight but come back and win a world championship. Lose a fight, come back and win someone that he was not supposed to beat. That's why I say it's the beauty of the sport.
Yeah, and I was also gonna bring up, Vasily Lomachenko. Like, he should have never got title shots that early in his career, but Orlando Salido beat him up badly, and Lomachenko didn't even want to fight him, for a particular rematch. Even though that Salido came in overweight, but still, it like just skill for skill. Like, if you got like good guys in the sport that are good tough journeymans, they win one and probably lose one. Like, if they're still improving and they're still elevating like their skill to wanting to get better, then that's what helps you grow as a fighter if you're trying to make those particular changes, in your game to try to be like the best fighter that you can be, despite how many skill differentials that you may not hold compared to other fighters that are actually gifted.
Oh yeah, not facts. Definitely, definitely. Like I said, it's crazy because in amateur boxing you see some like your best of the best amateurs, right? They're in the amateurs. But once they go in that pros, it's like something don't switch, or like you see some of your best amateurs won't come out to the best pros, but you see some of your not best amateurs coming to the best to become a better pro. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's crazy how you see it.
Yeah, I think certain people that stay too long in the amateurs shouldn't need to be staying for that long, and they should just work on going to the pros so they can understand how to transition into that style. Because eventually, certain people get way too comfortable fighting like that, and then that's what ends up, getting that fighter knocked out by some dude that can actually like beat them, a lot
Yeah.
easier. Because it's more like, how are you fighting, to keep your defense very sharp and prioritizing like your punch placement so you're not leaving yourself, to get punished.
Oh yeah. No, definitely, definitely. I agree. I agree for sure.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask like about the fighters that you did fight in the amateurs, like are you I'm not too sure who you had fought like like a lot, but are you possibly, in certain I should say like do you know any of what the new generation fighters that are coming up today? Maybe if you have possibly fought them, like, obviously Abdullah Mason, Carmel Martin, Zaquim Moses, or anybody like that.
Yeah. Well, you named one. I fought him when I was little. Carmel Moten. You
Oh,
know.
nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Carmel Moten. I don't know if you know Stephen Navarro. He's out there
Yeah,
in
yeah,
California. Yeah,
yeah.
Stephen Navarro. That'd be a good fight down the
I've
line.
been, yeah, I've been
What's it?
on Top Rank and all that.
Yeah. Then even Keith Cologne. Keith
Oh, nice.
Cologne.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, that he was my last amateur fight in the semifinals and go nationals. I ain't gonna lie, I have a bunch of lists down the name because, like I said, I done fought a lot of the top competition. Andre Bonilla, he's number
Oh,
one
yeah,
from
yeah,
Mexico. Yeah,
yeah.
he's like
Um,
number 5 in the WA or something now. like I said, it's down the line. Down the line there's gonna be some big money fights, some big superstar fights. Down the line. So I can't wait for that chapter to come. But we don't want to rush the process right now. Everything it's
Yeah,
gonna be big. It's gonna be big down the line.
yeah, yeah. Because I was gonna say, yeah, like I just had Keith Cologne, on my channel not too long ago, and me and him were talking like about big fights for him, and I was gonna say, knowing that boxing is changing with Turkey Al Sheikh and Dana, um, I would really like to see the sanction bodies be gone, and I'd like to see tournaments take over because with me, like I come from, from the wrestling mindset where tournaments is just better, and I just think like if you're better than everybody, instead of having champions like making excuses to say why should I defend my belt up against you, blah blah blah, have tournaments so therefore you could have like all the best guys go at it, and whoever keeps on winning, they get seeded higher. So therefore, they're fighting up against like the number one guys that were, wanting to take their spot or something like that. Don't you know how in like college basketball, you be having how should I say, you be having like the top 32 teams, going at it, right? For March Madness. And, at the very bottom, you have like the 16 seed going up against like the number one seed. But then you could also maybe have like maybe some like wild card fights where, similar to basketball and same thing with football. You could have all the competition consolidate themselves like a lot better to get higher, incentives to challenge up against bigger names. So therefore their names can be spread out bigger. So I was actually wanting to like ask you like, knowing how boxing is right now with you trying to get to that world title level, like how would you want to have the sport be structured as far as like determining better talent, so therefore people can get their names out there?
See, I actually don't like see it like how you said the tournament thing. That's actually pretty fire because, in my opinion, I think that was kind of cool. Because you remember when they had the Muhammad Ali tournament?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was pretty fire.
yeah. Yep.
Even the Grand Prix, like my boy Troy Nash, he fought on the Grand Prix,
Oh,
and
nice.
I feel like they should do a little more stuff like that too, though. You know what I mean? Especially for like fighters. I feel like there's a lot of talented fighters out there, not even just in the U.S. but out in the world that don't have a platform or anything like that. So them be
Yeah,
able to bring like tournaments like that, it'll be able to bring other people into the light. And you never know, different type of star might come into the game and stuff like that. We don't know. So I feel like I love the traditional route. We can fight all over the states. Stuff like that in country. But I definitely think they should bring like more tournaments. So like I said, the Muhammad Ali, the Grand Prix, they should bring like maybe like another Ring Magazine tournament or something like that. I think that'd be fire.
yeah, because I was gonna say, like, don't you know how in basketball in the U.S. at least you have all these like hoop summits, right, where all the top players from all over the world they go at it with each other, and back then, when I was like younger growing up, like, I pretty much came up with all these guys while they were in their younger days, like Andrew Wiggins, Austin, uh, Austin Rivers. I mean, all these guys, Jaleel Okafor. I mean, a lot of these dudes were already known because of going through the tournament system versus just saying, let me just go to college and just hope that I get drafted. But it's like, that's not always going to help you because guess what? Like, certain teams can just cut you off just like that because it's like, what have you done for them for you to get a spot? So it's like, I would say that the same thing for boxing. You got way too many fighters that shouldn't even be at that level of being promoted, but they're being given opportunities to, to fight dudes, that are not on their level, and then they're just stacking up their record just to get like a world title shot that quickly. So I think like tournaments should easily take that over because it's like you getting screwed over by the sanction bodies where they're saying, oh well, even if you get like the WBC interim title, that still doesn't give you the quote unquote ability for you to be a mandatory to that champion. So that's not fair to anybody, regardless of like what route that you actually go to.
No, yeah. Like I said, shit. I was like, man, you said that pretty good, but we'll see how everything falls out, man. Cause
Yeah,
you know, I'm just like pretty much too like every box fan. I want to see the best fight the best, especially if you're at the highest level too. I want to
like you
the
could be
best
top
fight the best.
five all your contemporaries.
What happened?
No, no, no. I was saying you should always be consistently fighting your contemporaries when you make it to the world title level.
Oh
There
yeah,
shouldn't be any excuse of you not fighting any top guy that that's in your division.
no facts. Nah, I agree. Always said, once you become world champion and you got them three other belts, I feel like you should just ready start unifying. Try to close the division off the rip instead of looking for a little tuna fight. That's why I
Yeah,
like them. I like Shakur or Bam Rodriguez because they don't really need a tuna fight. They can just or even Buddy. They want to fight the best off the rip.
yeah.
Xander too unified. He's only 22. Wait, he's 22, right? Yeah, he's 22
23,
years,
23, 23.
20, 23
Yeah,
years old, youngest to be a world champ, youngest to unify. You know,
yeah.
man, that's just something only few people could do and few people want to do. So I have no respect for them people like that.
Yeah. I just think with the current state of things, there shouldn't be any reason for sanctioned bodies to block fights if if the fans really want to see everybody, go well. If the fans want to see let the best fights to be made, and fighters shouldn't be blocking those fights to say that I don't want to fight you because I want to keep up my belt. So, I want to see all the big fights. Devin Haney, Xander Zayas. I mean, there's plenty of great fights that I like to see. Um, but I was gonna say, as far as where you're at right now in your weight class, well, do you fight at 147 or?
Oh no, I fight right now. I'm fighting at 22 and 18. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
All right, yeah. Because I thought you fought at 147,
Oh no,
but
yeah.
okay.
I ain't that big yet.
Yeah, like you have like a pretty large frame, so I think
Yeah, see, that was the thing. In the amateurs, my pops, he always made me fight in my walk around weight class. I never really had to cut weight for the amateurs. My pops always said, "You want to be the best, I'm gonna have you fight at the your walk around weight, and you're gonna fight at the next weight class against whoever has the best competition at." So, my pops always did that for me. So now I'm in the pros, now I can cut the weight. Like I'm cutting it pretty easy, So.
nice, that's good. I was gonna say, do you have any like certain names that you want to fight down the road? Like any like particular rivals or up and coming fighters?
Uh, right now, I just want to fight whoever got the belts. That's when the time comes. See, I don't care who's in the way. Whatever lines me to them belts, to get me to where I want to be, that's who I want to fight. Whoever's in my way to get to them belts, that's who I want to fight.
Nice, that's good. Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, do you have like a certain like roadmap of where you want to be like fighting at promotionally, or are you just trying to like get everything done like your way so you can be like your own boss through like a free agency?
Oh, watch you see, watch you see soon because we got some things we working up. That's what
Okay.
I'm saying.
Nice.
I'll show y'all. Yeah,
All
so
right.
we working on some things.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you have any certain venues that you would like to fight at in the future?
Come on, definitely. My opinion, the Mecca of boxing, Madison Square Garden. I gotta
I know
fight
that
there.
you said that.
The number two. I definitely gotta fight Wembley Stadium. I love those UK fans. I definitely gotta fight over there in Wembley.
See you knock out some hype job British fighter, and
Oh yeah,
specifically, I want to see you knock out Dennis McCann. I think he fights at 122 or 126, but um, yeah, he's trash. So I don't
oh yeah, oh
like him.
yeah. He on the future hit list too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
take
nah,
him out.
them two is definitely top two. I gotta fight there. I definitely gotta fight Madison Square and Wembley. Them the two spots.
Yeah, I was gonna say, would you ever fight in Puerto Rico or?
Oh hell yeah, man. I would be honored, especially I got family out there. They can come through and support. Show up for the whole island, and everything like that. Like man, that'd be a blessing. That'd be a blessing beyond a blessing.
Yeah, yeah, but you should fight over at the Hiram Bithorn Stadium or the Roberto Clemente Coliseum.
Oh yeah, that'd be fire. That'd be fire. That's where Xander fought his last fight, right?
I think so. Yeah. He fought a boss there, if I'm not to be mistaken, and that was packed too. That was like at least like over like 17,000 people or 20,000.
Damn. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you about Puerto Rico. Like, what does it mean as far as like, your heritage goes? Like, what does it mean to actually represent for being a Puerto Rican boxer? Like, do you have like a very deep pride for that?
Oh yeah, you already know. On the island, boxing is big down there. You know what I mean? It's huge. And having my Puerto Rican roots from my father and my abuelo, it's everything. I one thing about me, I like to represent. You gotta represent. You can't forget where you came from. At the end of the day, what's it called? Yeah, like I said, Puerto Rican boxing is big, man. That's another. I grew up watching nothing but Puerto Rican fighters. You know, so I
Okay.
definitely got to show out and be there for the island too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was gonna test your Puerto Rican boxing knowledge. Who was the very first Puerto Rican boxer to be world champion?
First to be world champion. Ooh, I know the youngest, but not the first. Unless it's Six Toe Escobar.
Oh, did somebody tell you that? Come on, man.
Nah, I see it through your eyes. Nah.
Okay. Oh man. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
See,
Sexto was at the first one, and during that time, I think he was at the um, I want to say undisputed in the one belt era. That was during like the NBA belt, leading up to the formation of the WBA title. That was back in like the 1930s or 40s. So
one of my favorite Puerto Rican fighters of all time was Roberto Gomez.
yeah, yeah.
Man, that man was. Whew.
I like Carlos Ortiz and I like Juan Carlos Torres. Carlos Ortiz, he was a two division undisputed world champion, and Juan Carlos Torres, he was I want to say one division undisputed at I want to say 175. Or actually, I think he was like a two belt era. Yeah, yeah, he was a two belt era undisputed world champion. Yeah, over at 175. Yeah,
Mm.
so,
Yeah,
yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, you would like talking to my pops. I ain't gonna cat, cause you know your history and stuff like that. You definitely love talking to my pops, man.
Okay, yeah, yeah, sure. I'm always down to have a great conversation with with you. Like your dad. I also
Yeah,
like talking about him, with anybody, man. So
nah, yeah, he like a boxing Wikipedia, man. Like he got that the questions, the answer for the answer, and everything. Like you know,
yeah, I also wanted to ask about like your sister. Is she ever gonna come back? To boxing because I had her on like my channel in the past, but I think she wasn't able to talk due to cell phone issues.
not yet. Right now, she just had a baby, so she with her fiance is Amo Williams. Oh, not fiance. Her husband's Amo Williams. That's my
Okay.
brother-in-law. So yeah,
Nice.
right now, she's taking a little slow, but yeah, she definitely get back soon and stuff like that. And I can't wait. That's my big sis. So seeing her fight and everything like that, like I say to this day, I'm gonna keep on saying it. She the hardest person to ever hit me to the body. I'm
Wow.
telling you, and it's a female. You know,
Man,
I
man,
swear
wow.
she can hit to the body for a female.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Yeah, like I like to see both of you fight on a same card together too. That'd be awesome too.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen soon. Everything's gonna line up soon. Once they do, man, it's gonna be something special.
Okay, nice. Yeah. I also wanted to close things out to ask you, when it's all said and done for your boxing career to be over, what are you trying to leave as far as like a message for like the next up and coming generation?
Oh, I wanna leave my legacy on the table, man. I want some, especially where I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. We have so much great hidden talent in the city, especially of fighters. We produce nothing but fighters. You have great talent. So I want to show them, they could do it too, and I want to give them a platform to do it on too. Because I feel like I'm telling you, once I get my platform right and everything how I vision it, you're gonna see multiple world champions come out of Albuquerque, New Mexico too. Not just a few. You're gonna see a multiple, even more coming out. So this next generation, I'm hyped to see them come out, man. Like I said, I be keeping an eye on them, especially in the amateurs, them little 8-year-olds, all the way to the intermediate. They something special, so I can't wait to where I get where I want to be and have them on a platform so they showcase.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's that's very powerful that you say that. Yeah, I think fighters out of that particular area are very skilled, and that's actually kind of similar, out here where I'm from in Albany, New York. There's like a lot of great talent. Guys like Shamar Canal, Damazian Van Houter, and who's that other fighter? Kasir Goldson. He's also very good too. So yeah, like I'd like to see more talent out of the Albuquerque, New Mexico area because I don't think a lot of people talk about them too much.
No, yeah. Oh yeah, y'all for sure gonna see it soon, man. Just keep tuned, stay watching. Follow me on the Instagram, follow me on the social media. Keep tuned, cause like I said, may start a little slow right now, but once it starts getting cooking, it's gonna be hard to stop.
Okay. Yeah, well, for sure. Yeah, like I don't want to hold you up. I just wanted to, get those like last questions out, and like I definitely like appreciate you coming on. If you have any last words, if you want to close out, for anything that you like to say, go for it.
I just want to say shout out to you for letting me be on your channel. It was an honor. It was a blessing to have me on here. I want to say shout out to all my fans, supporters, sponsors, even the haters, man. Keep on staying tuned. Y'all just seeing a young journey. I'm barely starting my young journey. I got lots of years to come into this, so y'all gonna see me a lot. So stay tuned, man.
Okay. Well, I thank you very much for coming on, and hopefully we can have like another show. And I hope you,
Oh yeah, definitely.
like world title glory, for what you get, in the sport of boxing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Yo, bless one. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll see you. All right, y'all. Yeah, that was pretty much it. Had a pretty good show with Yoruba. Definitely like to have him on again. So, salute to everybody that came on to the chat or just people tuning in to watch. So, yeah, man, I appreciate you guys coming through. Let me get into the studio and then I'll close you out with like the outro. So, thank you guys for coming on. I will see you guys later and more boxing content coming on soon for the channel. And also be sure to stay tuned for the YouTube shorts. I'm going to be posting all my boxing shorts right now so I can cover all the, past, boxing fight cards that I forgot to upload to the channel. So, all right, I'll see you guys later. Peace out and have a great, day. All right. I'll see you guys. All right. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Uh, hold up. One. Okay. Yep. I'm just gonna end the stream. So, hold on. Actually, yes. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll see you guys. I'm just gonna end the stream right now. All right. Have a great day.